because of a high-profile nature of this case, they are going to for sure want to make sure that the juror, whoever they are, they probably have seen the news about this already. That is not disqualifying. What's disqualifying is if they have a fixed opinion of the case.
After nearly 3 years since the tragic shooting death of a Hollywood cinematographer, a high-profile actor will go on trial this week for her death. Actor and producer, now defendant, Alec Baldwin is charged with involuntary manslaughter for his role in the deadly shooting that killed Halyna Hutchins and also injured the film's director. Hutchins was killed during a rehearsal while on the set of the Western film Rust. Baldwin was rehearsing a scene with a prop gun when the gun went off with a live round, killing Hutchins and wounding the director, Joel Souza. Baldwin has maintained in multiple interviews he did not pull the trigger on the weapon, and the gun misfired the bullet, which had a live round in the chamber. The film's armorer, Halyna Hutchins, was convicted in April on the same charge of involuntary manslaughter and is currently serving an 18-month prison sentence. Prior to her being sentenced, she begged the judge to sentence her to probation.
First and foremost, my heart aches for the Hutchins family and friends and colleagues as well. And it has since the day this tragedy occurred. Halyna has been and always will be an inspiration to me. I understand she was taken too soon, and I pray that you all find peace. I am beyond grateful that Joel survived that terrible day. My heart goes out to the film industry for the devastating pain that this tragedy caused and the old wounds that have been reopened. I am saddened by the way the media sensationalized our traumatic tragedy and portrayed me as a complete monster, which has actually been the total opposite of what's been in my heart. Your Honor, when I took on Rust, I was young and I was naive, but I took my job as seriously as I knew how to. Despite not having proper time, resources, and staffing, when things got tough, I just did my best to handle it. Today, I humbly ask you to consider probation, a probation where I can contribute to society through community service, and I can continue my counseling, and I welcome any classes that you may deem necessary for me to attend. I give you my word now that I would strictly follow the rules and respect the parameters of that probation. I beg you, please don't give me more time. The jury has found me in part at fault for this god-awful tragedy, but that doesn't make me a monster. That makes me human. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the film's assistant director, Dave Halls, who handed Baldwin the prop gun, pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of negligent use of a deadly weapon and was sentenced to 6 months of unsupervised probation.
I am surprised. I don't think the case against Alec Baldwin is nearly as strong as the case they had against the armorer, Halyna Hutchins, which they did get a conviction because of the fact that her role was safety of the guns, whereas his role as an actor, doesn't have that kind of responsibility over how safe a gun set is. And he's being charged with involuntary manslaughter, which does require some sort of negligence. So this is going to be a much harder case for the prosecution, for sure.
The road to Baldwin's trial was not without a fair share of unexpected twists. Baldwin has twice been charged in the fatal shooting. First in January of 2023, when the Santa Fe district attorney announced Baldwin and the film's armorer, Halyna Hutchins, would be charged with involuntary manslaughter. But 2 months after that, the special prosecutor assigned to the case, Andrea Reeb, resigned. Then a month after Reeb's resignation, the prosecutors who replaced Reeb cited new facts in the case when they announced they would temporarily dismiss the manslaughter charge against Baldwin. But things would ultimately change in January of this year when prosecutors announced Baldwin would be charged with involuntary manslaughter after a grand jury indictment. Even just a few months before his indictment, Baldwin reportedly was offered a plea deal last October to plead to a misdemeanor and serve no jail time. The offer was reportedly made on October 5th of 2023, and Baldwin was given until October 27th to decide whether to accept it. The deal similarly mirrored the offer given to assistant director Dave Halls, who handed Baldwin the Colt .45 prior to the shooting. But prosecutors would ultimately withdraw the offer on October 17th of 2023 when the state informed Baldwin's lawyers the deal was off and they were going to proceed with the grand jury. Now, fast forward to July of 2024. It'll be the duty of 12 ordinary citizens of Santa Fe, New Mexico to determine the fate of the actor/producer, as jury selection is set to kick off on July 9th.
I mean, because of a high profile nature of this case, they are going to for sure want to make sure that the juror, whoever they are, they probably have seen the news about this already. That is not disqualifying. What's disqualifying is if they have a fixed opinion of the case, they're going to be asked whether or not you can set aside any opinion you may have formed based on the news that you saw. We will see Alec Baldwin's attorneys go through their social media as well to kind of confirm what they are saying in open court. If they say in open court, they're don't have a fixed opinion on this case, but they've made a bunch of posts talking about him being guilty. That's something that they can get that juror excused for. So we will see, they want somebody with an open mind, just like any trial, an open mind willing to take a look at the evidence. And they will do their diligence and kind of make sure that that person hasn't put it out there on social media, something different than they're saying in court.
At this time, it's unclear how many men and women will make up the Santa Fe jury. But according to attorney Dina Sayegh-Dahl, the makeup of the jury could vary.
I think because this case doesn't have to do with like sexual assault or harassment or any kind of relationship between him and the victim, I don't think it's as important, the makeup, the gender makeup of this. You might want people who have their own business, let's say, who can kind of sympathize with the fact that they are having to rely on their employees. That kind of circumstance where that's really going to essentially be his argument, is that I relied on others to tell me that the gun was safe. So somebody in that position in their job, where they work as a team in a job and they're really used to the idea that everybody has distinct roles, is something that I think the Baldwin team will look for and could use as a good juror.
And the jurors will have to come to a decision that could either put Baldwin in jail for 18 months or let him off, as the prosecution has two alternative standards to proving the involuntary manslaughter charge. One is based on negligent use of a firearm. The other is proving beyond a reasonable doubt that Baldwin acted with total disregard or indifference for the safety of others.
He's either convicted of involuntary manslaughter or he's not. And they have that burden, beyond a reasonable doubt standard that they have to meet for both of them. The question really is which theory. And that gives them more options for sure than maybe in a typical situation where you're trying to just prove one, degree of manslaughter. So it gives them more options, but it's still, I think, frankly, going to be very difficult because they have to either prove that he's negligent in the use of the firearm, as you said, or, has this complete disregard for the safety of others. And his role as an actor is definitely limiting to the prosecution. And, we're hearing today the pretrial motions where they're talking about what kind of statements are going to come in and what aren't. And trials can be won or lost on pretrial motions. They are hugely, hugely important. And the fact that, the gun expert testimony is going to be coming in for the prosecution, even though they broke that at the time that they were evaluating it, is crucial. If that hadn't come in, that would completely have changed this trial. It can still be appealed if he's convicted. I think it will be appealed and possibly overturned. It seems unfair that the prosecution was able to test the weapon, but not the defense. I'm quite surprised about that ruling, actually. But it's these kind of pretrial rulings about the evidence that's going to come in is going to, frankly, decide how well the prosecution can prove their case. But I think it's an huge uphill battle because of his role as an actor.
And with both sides gearing up for jury selection in the trial, with a high profile and lengthy career of being on screen, Sayegh-Dahl explains Baldwin's celebrity shouldn't be an issue to seat the 12-person Santa Fe jury, as a few notable famous faces have also had to face a jury trial.
I mean, you want to be careful, the Baldwin team, that you don't seat somebody who wants to be on the jury because they want to become famous, or that they're really not willing to be open-minded and fair-minded. I think that's always the risk in a high-profile case like this. Really, frankly, on both sides, for the prosecution and the defense. And I think because of that, both sides are good at kind of weeding out any pre-existing, motive. It's not obviously a perfect system, but those examples that you just gave, we saw the jury be very thoughtful and conscientious. And I have to say that I'm always struck by how well jurors, whether it's high profile or not, come to a very distinct legal conclusion, about how the facts should be applied that I agree with. They're very good. Jurors are very good. That's why our jury system is so strong in this country. And they have been able to overcome high profile cases quite a bit. And I don't see any difference here.
Judge Mary Marlowe Summer, the same judge who oversaw Halyna Gutierrez's Reed's trial, has projected the trial should last about 9 days, meaning a swift and seemingly speedy trial could keep the jurors attentive before they need to make their final decision.
9 days is a very short trial, especially for, here where there's somebody actually died. It's a very short trial. And so they're not going to be sitting days and days and days on endless testimony. She's going to be moving through the testimony quickly in order to get there. So that's a plus in terms of the jurors' attention. And also, I think that we have seen much drier testimony for sure in our true crime cases. A lot of the cell phone data can be very dry. But we have also jurors that sit in financial civil trials. And if you think that cell phone data is dry, never mind the financial. I mean, there's jurors who have to sit through, spreadsheets and, actuarial testimony, expert testimony. So in this context, I think that they were going to move quickly. And I think that that gun testimony is frankly, going to probably be a little bit riveting. It's a tragedy here in this case. But the fact that it happened on a movie set, I think the jurors would probably be very interested, actually, in hearing how movie sets work in terms of gun safety.
But one person that remains unclear if they'll be called as a witness is Alec Baldwin himself, as many legal minds have pondered if he'll take the stand in his own defense, especially as he's remained adamant he didn't fire the weapon and believed the gun was cold when it was handed to him on set. So while that decision might be uncertain now, Sayegh Dahl explains it's possible Baldwin doesn't even get on the stand in his own defense.
In a way, he did already testify. He spoke to the press. He said that exact thing, that he cocked the hammer, but he didn't pull the trigger. He also spoke to the police. He kind of waived his right to remain silent and spoke to them, not thinking he was a suspect. All that testimony is going to be coming in. I don't see what else he could say than what he already said in that interview. So I don't think he's going to take the stand.
Jury selection for the trial of Alec Baldwin is set to begin on Tuesday, July 9th, with openings potentially slated for Wednesday. If Baldwin is convicted of involuntary manslaughter, he faces 18 months behind bars. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Millner.